I was clearly quite angry this day. I have to let go because even if you were here right now, it wouldn't be the same person I fell in love with. Just a shadow of someone who used to feel special. I think there's quite a lot to unpack here. Obviously, this is a very emotional day for me. I would usually say that I'm really good at understanding what I need and following my gut, but I think this is the most lost I've ever felt in my entire life. In my last video, we talked about my experience with heartbreak. In that video, I said that one thing I found really helpful was to write notes on my notes app as if I was talking to him and not send them to him. I said that I would read you guys some of them and talk about my viewpoint on them now. So that is what we are doing today. If you do want to know more about what actually happened, then go and watch that first video. But let's just get into it. The first entry is dated the 5th of the 11th, 2023. So this would have been, kind of say, like 4 or 5 months after we stopped talking. You asked me if I regret it once, and I still think about that question all the time. It's hard for me to regret us because if I could go back to the start, I would still do it all again. I would still send you random messages telling you how much of an impact you've made on not only me, but this world. I would still send you hauls all the time because I love the way you react to them. I would still listen to every problem you so undeservingly encounter. I would still support you and admire all of your little quirks. I wouldn't change a thing because at the end of the day, I had the absolute privilege of getting to love and be loved by you, and it was the best experience of my life. Why would I regret that? This one still feels true. If I could do it all again, I would because I had so much fun and I loved him. And I don't really just understand regret in general. Like, that was a big part of your life. And if you enjoyed it in the moment and you had fun, then why would you regret that? I like that I had the absolute privilege of getting to love and be loved by you because it is a privilege to be loved and to feel love and to be able to love someone else. I think it is easy to tell that I was really in love with him and it was real love, and I would never regret love. The next entry is the 8th of the 11th, 2023, so this was 3 days later, and it says, I hope you're doing well. I think about you almost every second of every day, and I'm struggling without you here. I'm just trying to become the best version of myself so that if we end up together, then I'm able to love you the way that you deserve. It hurts like hell trying to stay no contact, but I think it's for the best to build our own identities and understand ourselves enough to understand how to love another person. This one very much shows that even though it ended, I was still like, oh, we're gonna be together. Or like, oh, he's my person. And this is what I was talking about in the last video. As soon as I let go of it, I was able to move on and to understand that it actually was over. And this is obviously something that I hadn't realized yet. I didn't realize for a long time because I was just so used to feeling like he was going to be in my life forever. I do still agree with what I said at the end. I think it's best to build our own identities and understand ourselves enough to understand how to love another person. And whilst I was writing this, I did think that it would be him. I did fully believe he was going to be the person. But I think now reading it, it's still true. It's just true for someone else. Even reading these back now, I'm quite proud of myself because even though I was struggling so much, these feel quite mature and like quite real. I think also the opening, I hope you're doing well. I feel like that was just something that I struggled with a lot, and I talked about this in the last video, was that I just wanted to know he was good, and I just wanted to know what was going on in his life. And I know that it's not my place now. I know that it's actually none of my business because we're over. But I still just wanted to know that that person that I loved and cared about for so long was doing okay. Okay, the next entry is the 11th of the 11th, 2023, which is 3 days later again. And it says, it's so much harder now. Everything just feels so much heavier when you're not here. I'm trying to be okay, but it's a lot. This was a very short one. I think that was the only one that I wrote. Like, the only thing I wrote for that paragraph. But this one, if you are going through a breakup or heartbreak, everything will just feel so much heavier because you no longer have someone that close to talk to about it. It was a lot. It was a lot. I don't think it was necessarily that my life outside of the breakup or apart from the heartbreak had gotten worse. I think it was just I was able to deal with it more healthily when I had that person to talk to about it and give me advice about it. But now that it's over and that's gone, it feels like everything is just worse. Even though nothing apart from the breakup has changed, it just feels different. I think that's also where a lot of people can be like, oh, then I need to text him again, or oh, I need him back, which is what I was like. But that's just not the case because it ended for a reason. It's so much harder now because you haven't had to deal with that alone for a long time. You haven't had to deal with your life alone for a long time. And so it can feel like you're missing something that just made your life so much better and easier, which is true because you lost someone that you loved. But it's important to remember that just like you've gotten through every other thing in your life, you will get through this part of your life as well. And you haven't had someone there your entire life to help you with everything. I think that once we've had that connection in our life, it's easy to forget that. But you need to remember that you were okay and you were alone. You were one person, a single person, before you met them, and you were fine. Okay, the next one is the 17th of the 11th, 2023, which was 6 days later. I was clearly quite angry this day. My entry says, I hate you today. You said you'd always be there for me. Well, where are you? I hate you for not figuring out the way you felt way sooner. I hate you for making me feel abandoned. I hate you for saying you love me and acting otherwise. And I hate you for not texting me and trying to figure this out. I hate you for making me feel like I'm the only one who actually cares about us. I hate you for making me feel so easily replaceable. I just hate you today. But still, all I want to do is be with you, and I hate that. This one is giving like 10 things I hate about you vibes. Yeah, like I said, I was clearly very angry this day, and I think that that's okay. I think you're allowed to be angry. Even writing this, I know that it's not hate for him. And reading it back, I know that it was never hate for him, but the way that this situation made me feel, or the way that he made me feel in this situation, I hated that. I think that it's important to say that you are allowed to feel these feelings, and I'm glad that I felt these feelings, even if it was something that I didn't want, because obviously, why would I want to hate him? But feeling this made it so much easier for me to be able to move on and do other things with my life. Make this video, make my last video. It was hard to write. It was hard to write this because he was someone that I'd loved for so long. And this just felt weird to say because I never thought that I would. But I think that it was worth it and also necessary to help me get over it. I don't see the point in trying to hide or mask the way that I'm actually feeling. If one day I want to feel angry and say that I hate them, then I'm going to do that. And I know that in my heart I don't actually hate him, but for that day, that's what I needed to do and say and feel like, and that is okay. I went pretty strong here. The next one is the 30th of the 11th, 2023, which is 13 days, so almost 2 weeks, which, as you can tell, was a personal record at this time. But this one says, I can try and forget about it and heal from it all I want, but if I don't understand what went wrong, I feel like I'll never be able to fully heal because part of me still blames myself, which sucks because I don't even know what I'm blaming myself for. This was kind of me ignoring the reasons why we couldn't or shouldn't be together because I understood what went wrong. I knew what happened, I knew why, but as time went on, I sort of convinced myself that they weren't good enough reasons. And obviously, I know now that they were. I think for a long time, I would say that I didn't know what went wrong, or I would try and figure out what went wrong, even though I knew what it was because I was there and we talked about it, and that's why it ended. I was just kind of using that excuse of, I don't know what went wrong, to hold on to it. I talked about this in my last video as well, but I don't even know what I'm blaming myself for. I talked about saying that, like, I blamed myself for not being good enough or, like, not doing enough, or sort of blame myself for being the reason that we ended, which I know was not the case. And I feel like I said I don't know what I'm blaming myself for because I shouldn't have been blaming myself, and I shouldn't have been putting myself down for something that was going to happen, whether I was the way that I was or the way that I am now or any different version of myself, because that is just life. It's just life that happened, it wasn't me. My next entry wasn't until the year after, which is the 31st of January 2024. This is what it says. It's been a few days since I got out of the hospital. It was a weird experience. There were points where I just wanted to text you, or I just wanted you to be there, and then there were points when I was glad you weren't because you didn't even care enough to be there for me for the last year of my life. It's sad to think about where we're at now compared to where we were at for so long, but that's just life, I guess. This one, as I said in my last video, I had a lot of problems with my health, and I still do, but at this point it was sort of the worst that it's ever been, I would say. I think when you're in that state in hospital or in A&E or anything like that, it's natural for you to feel like you need to be taken care of, or you want somebody to come and take care of you. And I think this is why it was harder at this point in my life, because I was sick for so long and it felt like I was not alone. Alone, yes, but also not being cared of. And that's why I think that I just really wanted him to be there, not necessarily because of him, but because he was someone that I knew cared for me, and I think he was always the first person that I would think of when I needed to feel safe. And so at this point, it was very hard because I was in the hospital. My mum was there, like, obviously, she was caring for me, but I think it just feels different when it's your mum and when it's someone that you love who cares for you when they genuinely just don't have to. I think that's why I did miss him a lot at this time in my life, because I needed to feel safe and comfortable and cared for. Okay, the next one is from the 16th of the 2nd, 2024. So just over 2 weeks since the last one. And this says, I think I have to let you go now, and that hurts me in ways you can't even imagine. And that was it. And I think it's also important to say that you don't have to say a lot. If you're feeling overwhelmed, you can write an entire paragraph, but you also can just write one thing. I think one thing can often be better than nothing. Writing this one was, as I say, I think I have to let you go now. I think that was when I started to realize that I need to be alone. And I think that's why I only wrote one sentence, because that feeling was so painful and so overwhelming. And I think there was just so much going through my mind that I could only write one thing. I wasn't in the headspace to articulate the way that I was feeling. I just had to go through it and feel it first. The 2nd of the 3rd, 2024. I genuinely am so confused. I have no idea what to do. I would usually say that I'm really good at understanding what I need and following my gut, but I think this is the most lost I have ever felt in my entire life. I go to uni, listen to podcasts, I watch as many self-help videos as I can, I do all of the routines, but no matter what I do, I'm just heavy. I smile quite often, so much so that I think I sometimes trick myself into thinking that everything's okay. In reality, you're all I think about. I am so unhappy and genuinely heartbroken since you've been gone, and I feel like the only person that would be able to help me is you. It's a weight that I can't explain to the point where you would really understand how it feels. I go about my day carrying a piece of you with me, and no one else gets that. I didn't just lose you, I lost myself too. You have no idea how unhappy I am without you, but no one does, and I guess no one will, because no one has ever loved you like I do. I'm trying to be happy by myself, but once you've had that love, how do you let it go as if nothing happened? I wish you would just tell me how you're feeling, but every time I ask, I feel like I get nothing, but I can't just move on without an answer. I keep waiting for something to give me the same light and purpose as you do, but it's impossible. This pain is unbearable. That was an emotional one. I felt myself getting a little shaky there reading it, but I think this is what I keep saying about you have to feel it. Like, yes, I went to uni, listened to podcasts, self-help videos, I had a morning and night routine, but I just wasn't ready to let go, and that's not gonna change by doing all of these self-help, self-care routines. That's gonna change by feeling it and over time, and there was nothing wrong with the way that I was feeling. It was supposed to be like that. The only way that I could get over it was with time, and this was the second of the third, so this would have been 8 months since we stopped talking, which kind of sounds like a lot, but it didn't feel like a lot. Like, it felt very hard. I also really thought that the part about carrying a piece of you with me, no one else gets that. I didn't just lose you, I lost myself too. I think that was so real because I'd started to sort of build my life with him in mind and imagine that my future had him in it. So when he stopped being in my life and when he stopped being included in my future, that was the part of me that I'd built with him leaving. And I was so like love a girl. I was so love a girl. And she's gone. He took her with him. But I know that I still can find love and feel love. It'll just be in a different kind of way. It'll just be in a more careful kind of way so that I know that part of me will never get lost again. And I don't think that you should completely cut out dating or love or say that you don't believe in love or anything like that. I just think that you should be a little bit more picky with who you choose to bring into your life, and that's what I'm trying to say that I am now. And I do still believe in love. I love love. I think it's beautiful, but I'm never going to let myself get into the position of a situationship again. I've had to move a little bit because I was sitting cross-legged and I kept getting pins and needles in my legs. But let's continue. I think that no one has ever loved you like I do is important because yes, there are a lot of people that have felt love and might be feeling it now, but every single kind of love is different, and every single relationship that you have with someone is different. I think that's why I said no one understands how unhappy I am because no one's ever loved you like I do, because we're different to these other people, obviously, so it's going to feel different and the experience is going to be different. And I feel like that's also why I felt so kind of isolated and kind of alone because he was the only one who knew how our love felt and what it was. Even if there are so many other people who are in the same situation as us, our love, our experience was different. I think also the part where it says, I'm trying to be happy by myself, but once you've had that love, how do you let it go as if nothing happened? And I think the answer to that is that you don't. You don't act like nothing happened. I think that you acknowledge that it was a very hard part of your life and you remember the experience. You take that into your next relationships or you take that into your relationship with yourself. But you don't act like nothing happened because if you act like nothing happened, then you don't learn anything. and you don't get to relive or feel or understand the love and the happiness that you felt at that point in your life. And so I think that is why it took me so long to kind of get over it, was because I was telling myself that I needed to let it go as if nothing happened. But I needed to let it go as if it did happen, because it did. This pain is unbearable is very true. That's exactly how I felt. And if you are watching this feeling that too, then it's okay. It can feel unbearable. It is unbearable, but you are going to be okay, because time heals all, and that's so true. You will find other things and maybe other people that make it more bearable for you. You have to trust the timing of your life. It will be okay. This one is the 8th of the 4th, 2024, which is just over a month since the last one. This one says, "It breaks my heart seeing how many of these I have actually written to you, because I know that if things were the other way around, there would be no notes to me on your phone. I keep wondering if it ever meant as much to you as it meant to me. I was there, I felt your love for me, but at the same time, if it meant as much to you as it meant to me, you would be fighting for me right now. That sucks, because love is a choice. You choose to fight for it, you choose to fight for them. So how can I believe your love for me was real when you gave it up like it was nothing? I hate that you put me in this position, because there is no way that I could genuinely hate you, even if you deserve to be hated. I wish you didn't treat me the same way all the people I thought you were protecting me from treated me. If you weren't going to follow through with the talk, you should have just left me alone." This one is a little bitter, but I think that's okay. Again, feel what you have to feel. I think one of the big things about this experience was he acted in a way after it ended that I know that he felt like he was protecting me. And that's why I think that he didn't choose to fight for it, because he was dealing with something else that he didn't want me to be a part of, or just didn't want to burden me with, even though it would never be a burden. And so I think that's why, like I said, he chose not to fight for it, and he chose to deal with it in a different way, and that's okay. Like I said, everyone deals with things differently, but for me, I don't deal with things like that. And so at that time, I was so confused, because I was like, why are you not telling me? Like, why are you not talking to me about this? I get it more now. I think also the part where I said, I hate you put me in this position, because there is no way that I could genuinely hate you, even if you deserve to be hated. I don't like that, okay? No one deserves to be hated. But I think it is true that there is no way that I could genuinely hate him, because I spent a lot of my time trying to understand. And I think once you understand something or you understand someone, hate is almost impossible. That's just what I believe, anyway. And I don't think that I ever really hated him. I don't hate him now. But in this moment, I felt like that was something that maybe I should have been feeling, that I should have hated him, but I don't think that that is the case. I think also the last sentence where it says, "If you weren't going to follow through with the talk, you should have just left me alone." I don't think I wanted that either. As I said, I think it was the first one, that I would never regret it. And so the part where I say you should have just left me alone is kind of regret in a way, but I know that I would never want, if I could go back, I would do it again. And I wouldn't have wanted him to leave me alone, because it was such a good, fun experience for me and I loved it. 26th of the 4th, 2024. I'm starting to think that I could just be a lesson for you. I tried for so long to understand why I'm being put through this, but it never occurred to me that it might not even be about me. Maybe this is what you needed to start to heal the broken pieces of yourself that I can't see, and I'm sorry I never realized that until now. Letting you go breaks my heart so much that I question if it's still in one piece. But if you're pushing me away, then maybe me letting go is what you need. I saw a post today that said good people never win, and one of the comments said that it's because good people aren't in it to win. Maybe I was being selfish by trying to win when I should have been focusing on what was best for us. It didn't make sense to me for a long time that every time I reached out, you'd be dry and give me dumb answers, but I get it now. You need something that I can't give you, and you saw that way before I did. You were right all along, I just didn't want to believe you. Now that the sort of pain and emotion and all of that kind of thing are over, and I'm talking about this retrospectively, I do think that he was right and that I just didn't want to believe him. I didn't want to believe that the end game was not us, as much as it hurt, which was a lot. Him pushing me away was the right thing for me. I'll never know if it was the right thing for him, but I think that I needed that because I'm very much, when I love someone, my friend said this to me actually, when you love someone, you love deeply. And that is true, and I'm very loyal. I think that if he hadn't have pushed me away, then I would have kept trying and I would have been with him for a long time. Okay, the 8th of the 6th, 24, it says, "It's been about a week since I found out you removed and unfollowed me on Insta. I was absolutely devastated. I just don't understand it. Why do you keep trying to push me away? What the happened? It's like you're just doing things to intentionally hurt me now, or you just don't care anymore. I know that if I were to talk to you about it, you'd say something like, you deserve better, or I thought you were better without me, which makes no sense at all. All of this was for your benefit. Since we stopped talking, you started the conversation once, and that's it, because you feel guilty. I know that you think that you're protecting me, but you keep lying to yourself, and that's for no one else's benefit but your own. I don't even get a proper explanation. I deserve at least that, and you know that, but I don't get one, again for your benefit, so you don't have to actually deal with your problems. You can keep pissing off and pushing away the people that actually care about you, but understand that when you open your eyes, you're going to feel real when the only people around you are that were just too important to let go of, since that's the crowd you're in now. I hate that I'm even writing about you like this, but I guess that's who you are now. I have to let go because even if you were here right now, it wouldn't be the same person I fell in love with, just a shadow of someone who used to feel special." And then, like a few minutes later, I wrote, "It's been like 5 seconds since I wrote that, and I already feel so mean. I'm just hurt, but you're still special." I think there's quite a lot to unpack here. Obviously, this is a very emotional day for me. I think this one shows you that healing isn't a straight line, because in the last entry, it sort of made sense that I needed to move on. But in this one, it's like I don't understand it again. Even though I did understand it, this was just me trying to ignore the understanding that I had. Because, like I said, why do you keep trying to push me away? It's like I talked about it in the last entry and I understood that the last time I wrote it, but now I don't. And that's okay. I obviously was angry this day because I swore a lot. I don't even get a proper explanation. Again, in my last entries, I think, as I just said, I understood. I had an explanation. I got it. But I'd kept telling myself that I don't and that I need that closure. Even if at the time I felt like I needed that closure, nothing would ever be enough for me to feel like I was okay to move on and I was happy to move on. I'm very emotional, and there were times where I was happy, but overall, I still loved him and I loved what we had. And the reason that I moved on was because I found that love within myself. He did give me an explanation. It wouldn't have been enough for me to want to leave, so it felt wrong that it was enough for him to want to leave. Even if it wasn't wrong, even he had every right, like, it was perfectly okay, but in my mind, I wouldn't have left. I don't think there was really anything that I could have felt or that could have happened that would have made me want to end it. And that's why I feel like I keep saying, "Where's my explanation?" This one just feels so mean. I like what I wrote about. I have to let you go because even if you were here right now, it wouldn't be the same person I fell in love with. Just a shadow of someone who used to feel special. Because I think that can be true with any breakup, any heartbreak, because this person that you loved and had in your life for so long, you were used to them sharing that with you. You were used to them being that with you. And so when you hear from other people or you find out certain things about their life and about what's going on with them, it can feel like it's a completely different person because they're no longer sharing that for you. And naturally, things change in people's lives. That's literally just the way life goes. But it can feel like it's not just changes, it's a completely different person because it's been so long and you haven't been able to actually see the changes happening. And I feel like that's why I wrote just a shadow of someone who used to feel special because I did and I do still feel that he is special, but it felt like he was different to the person that I fell in love with because I was hearing all of these things and I was like, that's not who I knew. I think that it was wrong for me to think that the new version of him without me was not special because one, it's mean, but also I think that people can change and people should change. And people are going to do what they're going to do with their life. And that doesn't mean that if it's not something that you would do or that you would want to do, then it's wrong and that they're not special and they're not worthy. The next one is the 22nd of the 6th, 2024. So a few weeks later. And it says, I got tested for a tumor yesterday. Should get the results back in a few days. It's been so stressful and I keep wondering what I'm going to do if it comes back positive. I keep debating whether I would call you or not, but I guess that's just something I'll feel in the moment. I don't know. It scares me to think about trying to get through it without you, because you have been the person I go to when I'm struggling for so long. I get scared that I'd call you and you wouldn't even care, or you'd ignore me or hurt me somehow, or something, I don't know. I hate that I feel like I can't rely on you now because I really wish you were here to talk to me about this with. I'm so scared and you aren't even close enough to realize anymore. I miss you so much and I need you to find yourself again because I really need your support right now. I think this is kind of the same thing as I said about the one where I said that I just got out of hospital. I think that for the most part I was scared because I was scared that it would be a tumor and he wouldn't be there. I was scared of how I would feel and how I would react to this result with him. Does that make sense? Like, this was a vulnerable experience, and I think that if it were to come back positive, I would have messaged him and I would have been super vulnerable about it and super open. And I think that that would have been not the right thing to do because, yes, I probably would have needed his support or wanted his support, but it's not fair for me to message him and tell him about that because then he can't move on with his life without feeling guilty because I'd just told him this thing and I'd sort of made it about me and given him a reason to talk to me again. At the time, I wanted that. I wanted to talk to him again, but I think that if I had told him about this, then he would have had to have put all of his life and healing and all that on hold to support me because that is who he is. I know that he would have cared for me and I know he would have supported me, but it is not his place, it is not his burden anymore. So I think I am glad that it came back negative because obviously who wants to have a tumor? But I think for the most part, I was glad that it was negative because it gave me a reason to continue on with my healing without having to text him again. Okay, the 15th of the 7th, 2024. I miss you so much. I don't know what's going through your head right now, but I can't help but feel like you still think about me. After being loved by you for so long, I just have a hole, a constant pain now that you're not here. I got back from staying in the city for the weekend yesterday, and I just kept seeing me and you walking around like our first date. Me and I got dressed up a few times, and I got some photos that I think are nice, but I just have no reason to post them anymore because you're the only one, apart from myself, I want to be pretty for. Your love is the best gift I have ever received, and I'm probably being greedy by asking for more, but I can't help it. You make me the kind of person that I would be happy to be around. Without you, days is just days, a laugh is just a laugh. Nothing holds as much meaning because the meaning is you, and you're not here. I miss you so, so, so much. One thing that I do like about this one is when I said, I have no reason to post them anymore because you're the only one, apart from myself, that I want to feel pretty for. Because when we were talking, he always encouraged me to be myself and find myself. And even through the hardest experience of my life, I still was able to say that being pretty for myself is worth it and doing something for me is worth it. And I don't think that I could be that person, I could have been that person to say that if I didn't have this experience with him because he was the one who encouraged me and made me feel okay to be myself and be who I am. I think also the part where I said, you make me the kind of person that I would be happy to be around. That was something that I also struggled with was after it ended, I felt like I became a more mean person because I was dealing with all of the stuff that I didn't know how to express. And so I took that out on other people. It took a long time for me to start to become happy with who I was as a person without him. Now I am the kind of person that I would be happy to be around because I'm me again. But at that time, it was very hard because I also felt guilty for putting this pain on other people when I didn't know what to do with it. I think also the part where I said nothing holds as much meaning because the meaning is you and you're not here. I think the real reason was me and is me, and I know that now I can see things and think they're beautiful and I can feel things and I'm very emotionally intelligent and I'm very happy. Now I know that the meaning is me, but at that time, the only time that I had felt myself was with him. And so it felt like I could never be happy, I could never be myself without him because he is the reason that I was doing that for myself. 17th of the 8th, 2024. I'm reading a book about attachment styles, and I guess it's kind of starting to make sense now. I am anxiously attached, and so I keep waiting for you as if things are going to change, or as if you will finally realize that I am right here. But you never will, because you don't want to. And I did know that, but hearing it be confirmed and spoken in a different way feels so weird. You can't love me like this, but I can't keep waiting around for you to change because I don't think you ever will. I think you could be such a good boyfriend and love and future for someone, but I don't think it's me anymore, and that hurts so bad because it's neither of our faults. Just life being unfair to us once again. That last sentence, just life being unfair to us once again. When we started our love or our relationship, it felt like everything that I had been through in my life was so that I could end up with him. It felt like he was the reason I had to go through that. That's something that I did struggle with a lot when it ended was because it was like, oh, well, then why did I go through it? And I know now why, but at the time, it was like, this is so unfair. Life is so unfair. And it was unfair to both of us. But I think that there was a reason for it being unfair, and at the time I couldn't see it. But now I see the reason, and I get it, and I understand it. I also think that the book about attachment styles is really helpful for if you're going through a breakup or heartbreak. I think to start off with, you should feel it, but once you feel like you're ready to start moving on, it's a really good book to read. I'll put it here. I don't really remember the title, but I'll put it here. And I think that was such an eye-opening book to read because it wasn't just something situational. This was like an actual book. It had real kind of evidence that this relationship wasn't gonna work out because I know who I was. I was anxiously attached, and I know who he was. I think reading it from someone else who knows nothing about my situation was very good to see or hear or read or whatever, because it just reaffirmed that little part of me that was like, I need to move on. This one is the 18th of the 9th, 2024, and you can tell these are starting to get like sort of monthly rather than like weekly. But this one says, I've been talking to a new guy lately, and he seems really sweet and caring. I'm super happy for her, and I don't want to seem jealous, but I am. Not in a I don't want good things for others, only myself type of way, but more of a it reminds me of us and I miss it so much kind of way. Even seeing my friend and her boyfriend together makes me so upset. Like, I genuinely love them so much, but I can't help but feel some kind of guilt and anger and sadness when I'm around them because I just want it to be us. I've been contemplating telling her about how hurt it makes me, but at the same time, I don't want to be a bad friend, and she shouldn't have to have a negative experience just because I didn't get what I want. I'm trying really hard to be a good friend and be excited for her, but everything about love just feels painful because it reminds me of you and of us. I has already heard so much about my pain without you, and I feel like talking about it more when she's just trying to share a normal and happy dating experience would be so mean and inconsiderate of me. I'm trying my best, but it's hard, and all I can do is share her excitement and try and act as if it's not reminding me of everything that we had. I really wish we still had that. And this one made me feel so bad. It made me feel mean and it made me feel guilty because I think that I didn't want anyone else to be happy in a relationship because I wasn't. It would be too hard for me to see. I think if at the time any of my friends were in a serious relationship, that would have really killed me. But it's not their responsibility to try and make me feel better. Like I said, make me feel better when she's just trying to share a normal and happy dating experience. Because that's mean and that's inconsiderate and that's almost being a victim. Like, it's not about you. It's not always about you. That was really hard. I was happy for their love, I was happy for them, but I couldn't see it and I couldn't talk about it and I just couldn't deal with it because being too close to it was too much. Because I remember the feelings that I had when I had that. That hurt. At the time, I wasn't ready to feel that. Now I am in a place where I can see love and I can hear about love, and it makes me so happy. But at this point, honestly, I just felt like I needed everyone to be alone so that I didn't feel alone. But that's just not what was right for the long term. The next one is the 6th of November 2024. This is sort of about a year since I first started writing these. But here we go. It says, I saw you yesterday. It broke my heart. You're just as beautiful as when I last saw you, but I never doubted that, to be honest. I wonder if you ever see me too, or if the universe is just torturing me for something. I hung out with the other day, and that shit was actually so hard. She kept asking about you, and it's the same thing when I'm with him, and it hurts so bad. Because even hearing your name just brings up so much stuff that I don't know how to handle. It hurts me so much to the point where I wish that I could just stop being friends with anyone that knows you, because hearing about you is torture when I'm not a part of your life. I wonder if anyone ever realizes how I'm feeling when you're brought up. I always feel like the world is spinning around me and I'm just there with no emotion or understanding, just watching everything around me continue. The depersonalization and derealization is insane. It's like I'm someone else that I don't know, and my life isn't mine because my life has you. There are so many times that I'll be hanging out with people and I'll just zone out because they could never be you. Or I'll go quiet and leave for a bit because they aren't you, and my brain won't let me forget what it was like to be with you. Me and my friends went to Newmarket a few weeks ago, and it was like I was in a movie, and this is the scene where I get all of the flashbacks of what we were, of what our date was like there, of our conversations, and I just wanted to leave. I love my friends and I really tried to have a good time, but it's like I can't at any place we've been together because I know it was better with you. I'm genuinely so lost and I have no idea what to do, and I have no one to talk to about it because no one understands. Everyone keeps asking me if I'm talking to anyone or if I still like you, and the answers are always the same because I don't know how to let you go. My heart won't let me because I already let it believe that we would be forever. I love you so, so much, and that is one of the hardest things I've ever had to deal with because I know I can't have you. Even now that I'm writing this, I'm convincing myself so hard not to text you because even if I do, I know what the answer is going to be. I just pray to whatever is listening that you will continue to be kind hearted and genuine and the man that I fell in love with, but most importantly, that you will find some source of happiness that gives you peace from all you've been forced to endure. I can't continue to live my life until I know that you are at peace. It's like I'm in a constant state of stress, but also care until then. I really hope that by some miracle you reach out or give me some kind of sign that you're okay. Your happiness is all I care about, and I am okay as long as I know that you are. I'll always care and love you, beautiful boy, forever. That last bit, I'll always care and love you, beautiful boy, forever. That was like, ouch, because I always used to call him beautiful boy. But this is the last one that I have for the video today. The thing about where I said my friends always ask about you or about my love life or relationships or whatever is kind of similar to what I was saying about how my friends tell me about their love life because I don't want to hear it, I don't want to talk about it. The only person and the only situation that I would want to talk about it in would be like to a therapist. And the only reason that I would write about it would be at night when I was alone and could bawl my eyes out, like hearing it throughout the day with like normal conversations, hearing his name or like hearing something about him would just make me, like I said, depersonalization and derealization. I just felt like the world stopped, like, and I was like zoned out from that point on. Like, I couldn't just have a normal conversation because now that they've brought up him, it's like this distraction of me hanging out with you is now not a distraction because we're talking about him. That was very hard to deal with. Also, like I said, in places that I've been with him, like I said on our first date, I couldn't go back there and not feel some part of him with me. For example, we went to this one place, and the first time I went back there was actually just a few weeks ago. And I am healing, like, I am okay with it, and I'm not in that bad of a place anymore. But going there, I still felt it. It wasn't as like, oh my god, like the whole world has just stopped and like everything needs to stop and I need to leave. But I still felt it and I still felt him there with me. And it was weird, and it is going to be weird until you get through it. Yeah, I didn't expect that it would feel that painful and that emotional to talk about him or to go to places that we've been, and that's just really something I just was not expecting. I knew it was going to be hard, but I thought it was going to be hard because I didn't have him, which it was. This was just something that no one had told me about. No one had told me anything about love or heartbreak or anything really, which is why I'm making this video. But this was just something that kind of shocked me and was really unexpected. And that's what I was saying about it felt like I was in a movie and this was a scene where I get all the flashbacks because it was like, oh, I went here with him, I went there with him, we talked about this, like that kind of thing. I think that this was a really good one to end on though. I keep saying that 2025 was my best year, like completely bossed up mentally specifically. And you can tell because the last entry I wrote was the 6th of the 11th, 2024. And the last one that I ever wrote that I said was like my last note ever was last year in 2025. Because I knew that now that I'd been able to let it go, this was everything that I had to say. It was over and done with. Like, that was it. And I think that this one, again, was a good one to end on because it was still love. And I understood that this was about more than just me. Like I say, I just pray to whatever is listening that you will continue to be kind-hearted and genuine, and the man that I fell in love with, and that you will find some source of happiness that gives you peace. And that is still the way I feel now. I still wish him all the best, and I still want that for him. And so I think this is a really good thing for me to write about and to say. Like I said, I'm happy as long as I know that you are. I'm sort of a little less reliant on that now. I don't need to know if he's okay now because it's been so long, and I believe that he is okay. I believe in him. But at this point, when I wrote it, I was still thinking about him every day and like just wondering what he's getting up to. Yeah, I think it was so true about what I said at the end though. Will Karen love you forever? Because, like I said in my last video, once you've made that connection, it is forever. And I don't, it's not romantic anymore. I don't want to be with him. I don't want him back, but I still have that care and that love for him because I cared and loved for him for so long that it's now just like a part of me to do it. And I don't have a problem with that. I like that I am able to care and love for someone who's no longer in my life because that's how you know that it was real and it was special to you. It really was special to me. I'm so glad that I did this video because it even reaffirmed to me just how far I've come. I'm so excited to see what the next chapter of my life holds. And there was a point where even rereading these would make me bawl my eyes out. Now I can read them and talk about them from a place of enlightenment, and I'm healed and I'm good. This was very painful, but I'm glowing now. Like I'm thriving now, and it just gives me such relief, I guess, to know that I'm going to be okay. I can be okay because I've gotten through something that was so hard over and over again. I really hope that this video helps someone. I think that this is such a good thing to do if you are going through a breakup right now or feeling that pain right now. I think you should do it. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm so proud of how far you've come. Even if it's even early stages, you're still choosing to watch this video. You're still choosing to get up. You're still choosing to do something about it. And I'm so proud of you. I love you, and I'll see you in the next one.